Right, guys, welcome back. This is the Above Average FPL podcast. My name's Adam. I'm always joined by Baker. And this evening, we've got Chai. How you doing, Chai? You all right?
All good, Adam. Thank you for having me on. Cheers, boys. I actually quite often listen to the show, and I'm here to share the most biased Spurs opinions you've had so far.
Sounds good. That's what we're all about. We're all about Spurs. The main man on the thumbnail, and obviously big week for us fixture wise. And we've obviously just watched us play Galatasaray with which was slightly awkward.
Not ideal.
It didn't feel ideal, but firstly, before we go, we'll touch on that. But how are you doing, Baker? You all right?
Oh, good, mate. Oh, good. It's obviously, I'm on Cole Palmer watch, really, which is a weird one, actually, for me, because I've also got double Arsenal defence. I want Palmer to play, and I actually want him, and I want him to beat Arsenal as well, to be fair. But I'm like, also, if he doesn't play, does that make me better or worse? I'm not even sure. But yes, fairly big weekend, fairly big captaincy choice. Yes, and an opportunity to talk Tottenham. And to be fair, we are pure Spurs bias and don't have the great historical ranks and so forth. But last season, so Joe, where did you finish last season?
1839th. Of course, that was the season that created FPL Chai, I suppose. But we spent I want to say 30 game weeks in the top 100. We're fluctuating from 2nd to 10th for a few weeks and just shared the journey, had a bit of buzz.
Did you think you had a chance to win it?
I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, everything was going in my way. I genuinely thought I was going to win it all. But come game week, I think 30-ish, flopped the wild card. I was like, maybe it's not my season.
You do need that bit of luck in the run-in to make it happen. And I know we obviously spoke to Jamie when he won it, and yeah, I think it was like game week 34. He did a couple of things that just looked a bit strange, but he brought like KDB in and then capped him in 36 when he got the massive, 60-pointer for him. And that rocketed him, and then obviously never looked back from there. So yeah, you do need things in those final weeks to go your way.
Yeah, you need to be a really, really suboptimal manager. I'm not going to lie. That's why I got quite a bit of criticism. I can completely understand. I'm doing things that normal people wouldn't do, and it's working out. It's just a bit of luck and timing as well, and you'll be calculating a small bit of your luck. But you have to roll the dice to have a chance.
When you were up there, did you feel like you were? Did at some point you realise that you were taking a lot of risks, and obviously you got there, and then when you were like, could I win it? Did you take more risks, or did you change anything during it? Because obviously a lot of eyes were on you suddenly for being where you were for that. Did you feel like that changed, one, how you felt about how you played, and two, what was the pressure like, and did you even enjoy it?
I genuinely think that's what made it enjoyable, was the fact that I could do whatever I wanted, and for some reason it would work at the time. I genuinely felt like a madman. It was so weird. It's like it revolved around me no matter what I done. Especially Pascal Gross, that was his breakout season for Brighton. I want to say he was phenomenal. He was coming up with everything. But little things throughout the season, every single week, were just slowly gravitating towards me. In terms of how enjoyable it was, I would say the initial stage, I get my Twitter account rolling, start making a YouTube channel. It's all very exciting. You get to speak to people all over the world, and people like you start popping up. That part is really enjoyable, but then it gets to a point where it's there's all eyes are on you, and things stop going your way, which is normal. You expect that, and then you feel a bit more pressure and a small bit anxious on a weekly basis. So good to be grounded this season. I'm currently sat at 1.5 million. But I enjoy the season just as much as any other, and I'm looking forward to see if we can top it.
That's what we need. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for that one breakout season where we can go right. We're in the top 100, and then we just get a shit ton of followers from all of that. We're trying to. That's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for it for a while. I don't know whether it's ever going to come, but
might be a while.
It might be. It might be a while, especially if for me anyway, if I keep doing things like bringing in Mateus Nunes in a week where I probably should be bringing in Salah.
Wow.
But that is
all captain in Spurs.
Yeah. I think that's all captain Spurs.
I think that's it. I mean, there's so many different people are on so many different paths at the moment. You've got people who are sitting on Haaland, wondering what to do without Salah. You've got people who are sitting on Salah, binned Haaland, or they have both. You got some people that are sitting there with a wild card coming up in a week's time as well. There's a big fixture swing about to happen for a number of teams. There's quite a lot. I think there's a lot of focus on like what our teams are going to be for game week 11, but I think a lot of what the decisions that you make, other than if you're wild carding, I think really revolve around what you're going to do from 12 onwards. Funnily enough, so as much as we look at the fixtures this weekend, and obviously Spurs is the fixture that everyone's kind of looking at for obvious reasons. And I forgot to put in the slide about the was it the huddle graphic showing like the XG sort of plot. I forgot that. I'll put it in at some point when you guys are talking. But yeah, so there is a definite mismatch. I mean, it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I mean, Ipswich. It's Tottenham Ipswich, Ipswich away from home this season. Like, it's quite a step change. Obviously, they've had some hard fixtures, but 16 XG they've conceded away from home. The most goals conceded were 13. It's quite comfortably as well. I think Leicester are next to like 14 and then Southampton at 12. Like, it's big. I guess the other stuff is, when you look at their away stats as well with Ipswich, they haven't pressed at all away from home. They've literally sat back, and you're like, I don't know how that's going to, the best way to get a top at the moment is to press them high themselves, and try and turn the ball over. But they've allowed teams to press them really highly, is again, it all just looks like a delicious fixture. And we are very much a home team. Like, we are having big issues away from home continually. It feels like teams have sort of worked us out a little and are able to try and really exploit that at home. For some reason, when they come to the sort of big stadium, it's broken.
Should be back up now.
Oh, we're broken. Okay. I'm not broke.
I broke us.
We'll get a comment in chat saying we're lagging, but then it will come straight back.
Oh, okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, it felt like Son. Yeah, I said he put some runs in, but realistically, like, it felt like he would just didn't really want to be there. And I'm like, I don't know how many minutes we're going to get out of Son on the weekend.
Cut out again.
Oh, no.
Just trying to pick it up now.
We're back?
Should be back. How many minutes? So it was so Chai, you challenged us there. Go on.
How many minutes are we saying? I'm going to say 70.
75 for me. Adam?
Yeah, I think 75 is fine. And I think that's enough. Because I think games should be done and dusted by then. If there's anything that we know about Spurs, is the first 15 to 20 minutes of that second half is where things can happen. And if he's on the pitch for the first half, then great. So I think that works fine for me.
I think what we have seen from Ange is the substitutions. A little bit paint by numbers, a little bit in some of the minutes, for example. So it definitely feels like he trusts the sports science, said guys. So if they say Son 75, if it's 0-0, he'll still take him off on 75. If it's 5-0, he'll take him off on 75. Do you know what I mean? It's not like sometimes substitutions or the minutes that we see every weekend are a lot game state related. For example, if they're not winning, Haaland's always playing 90. I mean, is if it's 3 or 4 goals in the back, well, that's probably the time where he gets the rest. So I don't think Son's one of those where it's like 75 minutes. If he comes off in 75 minutes, it's because he's done all the damage. And if they haven't done the damage yet, he'll play to the end. I don't think that is the case with Ange. I think, like we saw last week with the Villa game, like, he looked like he was about to explode in that game. And then just gets taken off because Ange is like, nah, that's the minutes.
Sorry, I think especially when you consider the setback he's after getting. They're trying to put a cotton blanket around him now, especially. So I'd be more than happy with subbing him off regardless of the game state, like you said. Hopefully see Mikey Moore get 15, 20 minutes. I'd love that.
Yeah, I mean, a virus, I mean, you'd just be resting up, bit of ibuprofen, warm blanket, and he'll be fine by the weekend, you'd assume, wouldn't you? Unless he's got like a glandular fever type thing.
Yeah, it sounded like Timo.
Unless her name is Phil Foden
as well. Yeah, well, yeah. Phil has the ability for it. So we think that minutes. Richarlison's out, so Solanke minutes solid. You'd think 90 minutes for Solanke, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah, I think that's why I would lean towards a Solanke captaincy. I'm sure we'll get onto it over Sonny. I don't know if you had Son. Do you have Son 1? And if you had Son and you had the pair, who would you be more likely to show the armband on?
So me and Adam have got both. Got Solanke and Son.
Yeah.
Full
Okay,
bias warriors. Have you got both?
I've got Solanke.
You got Solanke, but not Son. Yeah, I am. I'm in the same position. I would captain Solanke over Son this weekend. I think my battle is Solanke v Salah, not Son v Salah this weekend.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
Fair enough.
What about you?
I don't know. I think I prefer Son. I just think
Really?
I prefer
No,
Son.
if Adam, by the way, if Adam says fair enough, it means what he actually means is I don't
agree.
With this. Not even a little bit. I don't know why he says fair enough. Tell us what you mean.
Yeah, tell us.
Well, no, I mean, you know, I know that you a week and a half ago said to me that you wouldn't triple captain Haaland over Salah because the midfielders are so good, and now you're telling me that you want to go for the striker over in Spurs instead of the midfielder. So,
well, I'm not because I'm currently on Salah over
of course.
Solanke because I still think the midfielders are the options for it. But
there is the question in the chat: what if you had Solanke and Brennan?
oh no, Solanke over
Nah,
Brennan all day
Solanke all
long.
day. I think for me, what edges it is, you know, especially now that I'm projected in my own mind 70 minutes for Son, let's say. Solanke's on penalties for 20, 25 minutes if in that case. And we don't get many penalties. Not to say one is due, but somewhere in my mind, I'm like, that's more appetizing than captain Son for me.
We don't get any penalties because we don't have the profile of winger that's going to drive into the box and take people on. We have the profile of winger that's going to cross early, and the other winger is just going to be standing on the 6-yard line. So he might get fouled, but not many defenders make rash challenges in that area of the pitch. Normally, the winger just taps it in. So, yeah, the pens thing, I'm not sure I'd put any weight on it for Spurs personally.
Yeah,
that's valid.
We don't get any, like exactly as you said. Udogie and Brennan, both of them, they make the runs, you know, the sort of driving runs that go past everybody else, and they tend to just hit it first time. They tend to just drive it across first time.
That said, I mean, I did watch Salah absolutely rinse Leif Davis. I know that was a while ago now, but like defensively, Leif Davis is not going to be up to Brennan's pace. So it could be a week where he does well. Might have to just back it as an anytime goal scorer and just leave it at that.
Oh,
hedge the hell out of it. Hedge the hell out of it.
You can't lose then.
Exactly.
I wouldn't cap Brennan over the others. I think it's really unpredictable. What we'll see from him. I definitely think he'll definitely have a big chance. That's what you definitely almost know with Brennan is. He finds ways to have a big chance. You'd expect that against Ipswich as well. But even if he seems to have a big chance, it's very rare that Brennan also gets top bonus as well.
Yeah,
because he works in limited touches. Like his thing is not to pass the ball around. His thing is not to even cross the ball very often. His thing is to just arrive in the right place and tap the ball in. Really,
Dele Alli style.
Yeah, it's kind of the old school like type baseline as well, like 6 or 7. Like it's so unlikely to be enough compared to what we're seeing from the moment. Son's creativity at the moment. That is the best thing about with Son is that you've got a huge amount of creativity. I think the thing with Son that I worry about is it's almost too creative. That he's much more disciplined than Brennan in terms of he will stay on his wing.
Absolutely. I think especially this season, I don't know why. It's actually quite interesting to watch because he's so relaxed and he mightn't be in the game for periods of the game, and suddenly he'll do something like we were used to seeing. Like, wow, you know, he's still there at 32 or whatever. I think he's 32. Do you still think he's got it? Do you think he's past the peak of his powers?
I think he knows his game more. I think it is that bit that we've seen it with, like those sort of mature guys. I mean, we're seeing it with Lewandowski at Barcelona now, you know, in that sense of those guys don't lose it. They just know their games more. And I think he knows this game more is if they want to offer width, he's just unlikely to beat people with 20, 30-yard runs. So he just holds his position more than anything else. He's creating space for others. And his creativity, like his creative activity is just getting better and better. The cross last week for the Brennan goal was fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't hate the Sun Cap. I really don't. But Dom would edge it for me at the moment in terms of from the Spurs guys, and I just don't know if I like those more than I like Liverpool.
Fair enough. I think I did manage to put this together just in time, just to show that XG difference. City obviously top of that with about +1, +0.95, something like that. Spurs in second at about 0.7, something like that, and then Ipswich down at -1.1. And it's quite clear. And as much as you saw, I mean, I wouldn't take today's game against Galatasaray as a yardstick for how, realistically, how we're going to defend. However, we are possibly going to be missing our two centre backs on the weekend. Like you were talking about Porro, bringing in Porro potentially this week, Baker. Like how? I mean, is it today that's really maybe called that slightly?
Well, I think Romero is going to be okay. I would not be surprised at all if Romero plays. And I'd be really, really, really surprised if Maddison plays. So we are looking at Porro set pieces. We have Ipswich are without Greaves, like it's their best header.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out who would win headers for us. Just Dom.
Somehow Ben Davies wins more headers than any man I've ever seen.
Romero,
he misses them all, but like somehow he seems to always win the header that's there. Dragusin obviously can win a header, Romero and Dom can. But I do expect for at least 70 minutes of the game that Porro has set pieces.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Which does tempt me. So whether you want to use a transfer, again, still on defenders at the moment. Defenders are just so painful of whether I'd want to use one there. And obviously you're bringing a guy in that you're almost certainly just going to bench next week against Man City.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got 18.5 million in my starting defenders at the moment. It's painful. It's painful when I could have 13.5. I feel a lot more comfortable.
Exactly. I'm not ruling out that if I looked still at Porro versus say Dalot, because I think they're probably the two. There's like Dalot, Canate, and Porro, all very similar prices, that 5 to 5.5 million. I look at them and think, I like them.
I love that Dalot, and I was actually going to bring him up. I think especially when this new manager comes in, he plays 5 at the back, and I think under Ten Hag we've seen Dalot play so advanced. It always tend to keep clean sheets throughout the season. I don't know how they do it. Doesn't matter how good or bad they are, they'll always keep some clean sheets, and of course the favorable fixtures coming up. So I really do like that one.
I mean, if there's obviously an entry point, it's these two games, right? It is these two games,
absolutely,
for sure. And I think there's even opportunity to have him as a makeway for, or maybe not Dalot, but if you're looking to get into the midfield, there's possibilities to get in and out of Man U assets just for a couple of games. And there's people talking about Højlund as well, which is fair.
Yeah, again, looking for me. Harry just in the chat, doesn't Son take some set pieces? Weirdly, so Son looks like direct free. I imagine direct free kicks is probably going to be Son over Porro, probably, if Maddison's not on the pitch. Game before last, I did notice that I think it was when Maddison went off the pitch that Son did take some corners. But last game, that was straight back to Porro. Now, maybe you might say it was, he had tight hamstrings and whatever, and therefore you didn't get him to take the set pieces. But it looked like they'd just gone back. It did look like Porro was only taking them from the left side, wasn't he? It was mainly Kulusevski was out on the right one, albeit they always did that short corner to Porro.
They love that, don't they? They love it.
They love it. So yeah, I think the majority of the stuff it will still be through Porro. Should we get the fixtures up?
We can look at the fixtures. First of all, got to say hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. So shout out to you guys for joining us and watching us. Maybe you've just got us in the background, or you've got us in the foreground and you've got Man United in the background. That's what we're hoping. That's what we're assuming. You don't need to listen to the commentary. You can listen to us. That's cool. So shout out to you, and as always, shout out to Crypto Blockdown for his support for the podcast. We really appreciate it. We've got a couple of weeks to go until the FCAs, so for anybody that did vote for us, thanks for that. Looking forward to that. You tried your suit on today, didn't you, Baker?
I tried. I'm a man that's been working at home for the last 8 years, and when I do go to the office, it's a very modern type office. You wear, chinos, polo shirt, that type of world. I haven't put a suit on for at least I reckon it's at least 8 years. I was trying to play it back through in my head. Somehow got a wider back. How do you get a wider back as you get older? I don't even know that's possible, because I could get my trousers up, but I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go suit shopping this weekend. I'm gonna have to do it this week because the wife's away next weekend.
Amazing. Yeah, we can sure look at fixtures, but while we're looking at fixtures, people have got to make sure they hit that like button if they enjoy what they're watching / listening to, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more from us. Heading towards 9k subs. Want to get to 10k. I'm hoping we're arranging like a decent sized giveaway for 10k. So we'll just pop that in there as a little cherry. So make sure you're subbed, because it's going to be for anyone that's subbed. There might be some other T's and C's around that, but yeah, it will be for subscribers basically.
And we have to, we have to grind it, because we ain't going to get there by being number 2 in the world, Mr. Chai.
No. We'll get there, lads. Don't worry.
Twice a week, begging. No, we're not begging. But yeah, let's look at some games. So as always, we look at the data that comes from Rob T, the data that comes from SpreadX, and we're looking at basically expected goals in a particular matchup, as well as a percentage chance of a clean sheet. Big ticket items, Spurs we've spoken about, and with the highest percentage chance of a clean sheet this week, 38%. And then we're looking at United at home to Leicester, 2.45 with a 36% chance of a clean sheet, so like second. And then you're looking at Liverpool third with 2.35 and 32% chance of a clean sheet. Once again, like, not many games where we're expecting to see cleans, really. And there's lots of 1-alls and 2-1s hanging around all over the place, wherever you go.
No 40% whatsoever.
None.
Like 40% so are like, yes, over 40, you can start thinking there's a good chance of it. None.
I mean, 38% in Spurs might as well be 20%, to be honest.
Yeah, that's when you know it's bad, like when we're nearly topping it. Like
we're the most reliable defence this weekend. What?
We're in some trouble.
So let me pose some questions to you. Let's go with defence. Let's do the defence stuff. Rico Lewis, if you got him, have we all got him?
Yeah, I've got him.
Yep.
Do you play him?
Not at the moment.
You got about 12 defenders,
no
mate.
choice.
So you've got some options.
I'll sit back.
You benched Leif Davis last week, so you know.
I can't start Mikalenko over Lewis. The upside of Lewis is just too high for me to not start.
Where is this upside?
I don't know. We've not seen it. I keep talking about it, but City are going to score goals.
He stands in the box a lot, right? That's the big upside, isn't it? Nobody ever passes to him, but like he stands in the box a lot. He's just there.
He's like a poor man's Munoz. You know what I mean? Like at least Munoz got the assist last week, but that's that guy where they're always around, but they're not actually doing and touching the ball in the right spaces. But you look at this, and I'm in a similar position where it's Mikalenko's the option if I was to not play him. But it's whether he gets in the team.
Yeah, that's the big question.
For
me, I've no doubt West Ham are going to score against Everton. I don't know why. It's just one of these fixtures where I can see goals. And when we look at it that way, like I'm not too high on the Everton clean sheet. It's like, why wouldn't I start Rico Lewis, even if I'm worried about his minutes? I don't know.
Do you think he'll start?
I'm 50-50, and I think that 50% is hopeful.
I think he'll start. I think he'll start because Walker was just so bad.
He is, yeah.
I just think, in a way, though, the worst part about them, even just midweek, was that we keep talking about it. The midfield don't track. Like, they do actually need him to invert a bit more and provide some legs into that midfield, because I'd much rather they were playing 3 big centre-backs and then Rico was inverting. But they're not really doing that much because Vardiol's clearing off. It's not like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like when you think about like last season with Trent, where he sort of came in midfield and Robertson stayed back as that left centre back. But the problem is Vardiol's so high. Then you stick Rico Lewis up there and you're like, I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, whoever it's going to be is going to get pinned back because obviously Mitoma's just going to have whoever it is just chasing the tail.
Like against Porro, a similar game. Against Trent last week. Honestly, as I said, if Kanata hadn't got injured, I'm sure Trent was coming off at half time because Mitoma was just taking the piss.
Mitoma's class. He's been class this season as well. I thought he was so impressive against us. He ran the show like.
Yeah. He's already made an absolute mockery of Porro and Trent this season. And I look at him against Rico Lewis and I'm like, oh. And you know that if he's on the bench, he's going to come on.
100%.
So is it upside versus Mikalenko?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that City will clean this week, so I'm comfortable in benching him for whoever. Well,
yours isn't forever though. Who's your other three defenders?
Well, my other three defenders are Gabriel, Porro, and Trent. So...
Yeah, but then yours is not in the conversation. You're obviously going to bench him.
Why am I here?
I'm
then?
very comfortable benching.
You know what? I'm going to
get this all over Twitter. I'm benching Lewis this week. You're like, well, who is it? Oh, well, I've got probably the best three defenders anyone could. Literally got the best three defenders anyone could have this weekend. Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, you just said Vardiol's not keeping it clean, so you have
true.
Got the best
so I've got the best three. This is true. It's true. No, I'll be quiet.
But you're not in the game of Mikalenko.
Wait, I'm never ever going to be in that game.
Yeah.
I don't get involved with championship defenders.
You got Leif Davis, mate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I don't play him.
That's true.
You're just there as well for celebrations.
I know it's a bit of a left field swerve, but Matthias has dropped us a super chat, so let's just get a quick answer for him. So he said, we've spoken about Spurs and we've spoken about United already briefly. So pick two out of Son, Solanke, Højlund, and Bruno.
You want to go first, Baker?
I mean, who's he asking this to?
I don't know. I don't know whether he can have two mids, two strikers. Do you want one of each?
Well, I'll just say something, Solanke. Thanks very much.
That's fair. I think I go. Yeah, I think Son and Solanke. I can't say Bruno and Solanke if I'm going to captain Son over Solanke, can I? That's like it just makes no sense whatsoever.
If it's for this week, I'm going Solanke and Bruno.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
Naughty.
But I'd also prefer to cap Son. FPL Harry says I'd play Greaves versus Spurs if I could. Of course you would, Harry. You're a liar.
Of course.
I mean, to be fair, if Harry did that, he'd score.
Yeah, he would definitely score.
That's how this game works. We know how this game works, Harry.
He absolutely would score.
We're familiar with your game, Harry.
As soon as you're plugged into the official FPL guys, then you start getting these.
So let's look around some other decisions. Hey, I need you guys to talk to me about this one. Raya or Fabianski?
Listen to this. So on wildcard 8th, I think it was. Obviously you have to pick a second keeper. I had Joel Ward at the time, and I meant to put in Fabianski, and I didn't click save. I'm delighted I didn't, because I'd be having a benching headache with Ederson this week. Obviously, I think Ederson is probably the favourable one, but I'm actually happy I don't have a second goalkeeper to mess around with. Who would I choose in that situation? I think it has to be Raya.
24% chance of playing for Arsenal.
I'd choose Fabianski.
28%.
Really?
I mean, the only risk. I mean, this is the thing though. Like for 70 minutes of the game at the weekend, he was like the worst keeper the world's ever seen, and then for the last 20 minutes, he was basically Buffon.
I mean,
so I don't even know whether he's going to start. But then if he's not going to start, it doesn't matter because you're going to get Raya in anyway. But I think if you're going to pick the fixture, anyway, I would pick West Ham for this one because Beto provided a great example that he also does miss big chances. And if
Yeah.
if Dyche plays DCL, then you cash money, aren't you? Basically.
Oh mate, you know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're in the
I'm
money.
going to play Fabianski. I'm going to bench DCL, and DCL is going to score in 5 minutes against Fabianski. That's how FPL works, baby.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
Harry's
exactly.
right actually. If
Yeah.
if Palmer's not fit, then you play Raya.
That's exactly my point. I was looking at
It's
it
true.
as if Palmer's not fit. But I think if he
Yeah.
is, yeah, Fabianski's the one.
You guys need to carry on for a sec. I need to nip out for a sec because my child is still awake. So hopefully the stream stays up. Fingers crossed. But we'll find out in just a second.
Let's do Man United. Because
Okay.
you just talked about them and you like the idea of Dalot this week, and just in general the stats are good, but it's early. We're still on rude time before we get to Amorim. Is it too early to go on them this week?
Nah, I think if you're gonna do it, it has to be this week, surely.
Well, I guess that the problems I've got with it is the 3 players. Well, there's 4 players I think that are people like Dalot, Garnacho, Bruno, and Højlund. And I do have slight question marks over every single one of them about where they sit in the new system. Because we expect Dalot's played left back again tonight. Probably play, who knows where he plays on the weekend. But like, what if Amorim just says, I'll play Mazraoui right back and I want somebody to play the left? And maybe that's even Garnacho plays left wing back. And suddenly it's like, what do we do with him? But we don't know. And are they like such a slam dunk team that I can go, well, I know what I'm going to get from Dalot. I don't know. And then I'm like, well, he could also play 3-4-2-1. And is that because he's played that a lot, Amorim? And therefore I'm like, where does Bruno sit in that? Is Bruno could be the 9. Then he's the best player in the game. Bruno could be in one of the 2 behind, one of the best players in the game. Bruno could be in the pivot, not one of the best players in the game. Garnacho, yeah, same deal. Like, where is he in that bit? And Højlund, again, same deal. Like, he's in the 9 that's going to be the one. If he's going to be the 9 and everything's going to be about him, then he's just a fantastic pick.
So basically what you're telling me is Bruno is the best option?
Yeah, probably he's the most reliable of those ones.
Yeah.
He's the most reliable.
I would agree on that.
It feels like he's the one where it feels like, yeah, that's the one that you would go to. But yeah, the Højlund one is one that it's probably Højlund's one. It's easy. Højlund and Dalot, they're easy for me to get to, because if I wanted to move on Lewis or move on DCL, then I'm looking at those guys and thinking maybe I should, and maybe I should go this week when it's home to Leicester. We just talked about the worst away XGs, and only shortly behind Ipswich is Leicester.
I suppose it depends on your risk appetite, though, because between now and then you're not expecting much change in the team. And even in that first week when he comes in, I'd like to think he won't mix it up too much, do anything too crazy. Again, he easily could, but I don't know. I do like, for sure, Bruno. Again, I don't know what your stance was before the season started when he was doing rubbish, and then now I was always high on Bruno. Again, I don't think he was a bad pick. I had him myself, and I think going
You've both
forward,
had him this season.
Yeah, he looks quite good, I want to say. Again, United there's such a big question mark on him, but again, it's those question mark players that if you get right, they're what elevate you, because people aren't on him.
I mean, it's the players around him that are causing him the problem. It's not him actually that's the issue. I mean, he's not getting. It was obviously the first game against Fulham where he gets those 2 big chances. You feel like if he scores one or both of those, then like the season just takes off, right? And everybody has him, and it just carries on from strength to strength. But Rashford's finishing has been average. Garnacho's finishing is it's always average. He just hasn't had really the supporting acts with him to make it work. Højlund scored a couple of good goals, but again, everything just started to go a bit sour at the end of the sort of the Ten Hag stuff. So, maybe this is a fresh start. Maybe this is, I expect like Bruno's output to increase. I mean, it has to. Like, it simply just has to.
It has to. It does.
It can't be any lower. Yeah, I agree. Especially with a player at his standard, like
But I don't expect his
is.
data. I don't expect his expected data to change. Like I expect that not to drop because of a change in management here. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I think the thing on Bruno's, I expect his XA to go up, but his XG will only naturally go up because Bruno is objectively a really, really bad finisher. Like I'm going to say he's like bottom tier finisher. Like when he's 1-on-1, you expect him to miss almost every time he gets a shot within the 6-yard box. But what he is an incredible ball striker. So if you look at his goals, he misses a shit ton of 0.4, 0.5 XG chances, and he scores a load of less than 0.1 XG chances, which then gets him back
Make up for it.
Yeah. So when his overall XG is there, but when you look at the number of chances that he misses that are 0.2, 0.3, 0.4 XG, it's a significant number. So he always has bits. He will always have parts where he looks like he's massively under his XG, and then hey, guess what? By the end of the season, he gets back because he will at some point, probably in these next few games, score a goal that's like 0.1 XG. That's what he does. But yeah, like we saw it just on the weekend, like the header he had, about 0.3. Nah, he's going to miss. When he went through and he was like 6 yards out with a header, there's not a fan alive that watched it that thought he's going to put that in the goal. Yeah. Nobody does. Like he just doesn't. But when the ball rolls to him and he's 20 yards out, you just think he's going to stroke in the corner. I think Bruno's an excellent choice for these next 3 fixtures. And especially, I think there were people that planning maybe go Palmer this week as an option. There'll be a few now where they're thinking, well, I'll just go Bruno at the moment.
Bruno for a couple, and then I'm in exactly that boat. Exactly that boat. Right now, if I can find, but then the only way for me to find the money is to sell Haaland, and that kind of sucks because it's 2 transfers, it's a -4, and like you got it last week. I mean, I don't want to say got away with it, but you managed to cover your hit last week by selling Haaland, but that wasn't a fun experience, was it?
Oh, it's not fun.
It's
never fun.
Have we spoken? Go on.
It's okay as soon as you've got scores. Like as soon as he scores, it was fun. Like it was, even if he'd scored at the end, I was like, well, I'm not losing now. You do need your players to hit if you haven't got Haaland and they miss. like if they miss, but you've got more chance that your players will hit if you don't have Haaland in your team because the overall quality of the rest of your team is much, much better because you spent 15 million.
Yeah, completely agree. And that was how I was born last season. No one else was going without Haaland. It's literally what I was doing, and it's so mad how it works out. But the game is so much more enjoyable for me without him. I'm back with no Haaland. I done the move last week with Kuna and Salah, and I feel rejuvenated again. Got a nice little green arrow, and I can't wait for him to score a hat-trick versus Brighton this week when I don't own him.
Yeah, I do know it's going to happen, but that's exactly the position I felt like straight away. The second the previous game week finished was like, I want to have my options to have anybody that I want in this game, and the best way for me to do that is to not have Haaland, and back yourself that you can pick the players around it that will work. He's going to hurt at some point, though. Yeah.
He is. Spurs is the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's probably that game. Wolves assets.
Any others to talk about? Wolves
assets, because I mean, again, we've got to talk because people either have already gone, but they're maybe not sure about the decision they've made, or there's still people looking at whether they should pick Cunha or Strand Larsen, or I mean, like if you want a defender from Wolves, then it's ain't Nori or nothing, basically. But there was something interesting again. Rob T's just like smashing out these fantastic ones. What's the wrong one? This one with the goal shares by game week, and it's pretty close. It's pretty close between Cunha and Strand Larsen. He does get a higher share generally. If they both score, obviously, if they both contribute, then, or if they both score, then Cunha's getting the bonus. But
I mean,
I don't know whether Sarabia coming back in makes a difference. I don't really think so.
I think Sarabia got in all the places that you'd want Cunha to be in.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. Like when I look at it and think, oh well, and for Strand Larsen, if he's got Sarabia and Cunha putting it on a plate for him, then that's good for him. Full stop. Like I think he's a really good option. Do you want to double up an attack with both of them? Ooh. It's tough, isn't it?
It's tough,
Looks
but it's
okay
cheap.
this week.
It's tough, but it's cheap as well.
It's just how often you can bring yourself to do it. Because the numbers are still bad. Now, everyone's going to say, yeah, but of course they're bad because the fixtures they've had and all that stuff. But they're still really, really, really bad. Like they are now as an overall lowest in the entire league for XG. When would we ever do it? When would, in any world, would we go, I want double attack. I want both forwards from the worst attack in the league.
I suppose, but surely you wouldn't classify Wolves as one of the worst attacking teams in the league, would you? Like, surely this is a good chance for them to maybe gain some and get back into the 14th, 15th realm.
It also around this though, it sways this, like this chart we're looking at here. When there's very, very small samples, it's all in pockets because, frankly, that's the only place it's going to. Yeah, if you did this with Tottenham, for example, it's going to be wider because there's more goals. You do it with Liverpool, you do it with Man City. Like even with Man City, you'll have one big guy, but everybody else is quite spread because they're creating so much. When the team's not created hardly anything, it's going to be limited where these play out.
Yeah, kind of half.
Yeah,
I mean,
fair.
it kind of half reminds me of the Son Kane season that we saw. However, on obviously on a tier down from there. I mean, the fixtures. The fixtures, you can build whatever narrative you want around the fixtures because we haven't seen fixture run like this before, and I don't think they have to basically run. They basically have to run as probably like the fourth or fifth best team for the next 9 weeks to get back in amongst it, really. Because if they don't, they're still going to be bottom by Christmas.
Yes,
and it's whether you trust.
Absolutely.
It's whether you trust that they can do that. I don't know.
It's funny that you compared it to Son and Kane, but FPL Spartans in the chat compared it to Emmanuel Dennis and Josh King,
Of which people did double up on.
And that worked out
They did.
brilliantly.
Well, I mean, it only really worked out badly because Emmanuel Dennis got sent off in a double.
Mate,
triple captain.
I had plenty of Josh King that season. It didn't work out good for me either.
Yeah. Yeah, I seem to remember not having either of them because I said they were bad players from a bad team.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not doubling up. Let's not be around it. But then also, Wolves are not a promoted side.
No.
So I think there are worse attacks.
Yeah, I know. I
100%.
literally talked about it on Sunday. I was really impressed with how they moved the ball v Palace. But I also noticed that when someone moves the ball at them, they can do what they like.
That's cool though, because I don't have their defense. I mean, I'm talking me personally. Like, don't have their defense. Just have their attack then, or just have one of their attackers. And you can, by the looks of this, you can pretty much pick either one, and it's probably okay.
Yeah, it's probably okay. But not both.
No.
Well, look at this. This is it. This projection's here. So let's count how many. Let's count how many people are projected to get more goals than Strand Larsen, and then
I wish you'd have asked.
Interesting.
I wish you'd have asked us to do this pre-pod because otherwise it's going to look terrible for the next 30 seconds.
Oh, very So 17 players before you get to Strand Larsen, and then
another 7.
24 players. Yeah. So
That's insane, man.
Before you get to Kuna as the most projected goals this weekend. It's pretty close. We're all going to say there's that many, but realistically, you've got, Isak at 0.44, who's 8th on the list, down to Kuna at 0.37. So it's pretty minimal in terms of what we're seeing there. But it's not like it's home to Southampton.
Yeah, this is the fixture.
Like Danny Welbeck home to Man City is predicted to get more goals than Mateus Cunha. That's
Doesn't sit right with me, lads. It doesn't.
Doesn't sit right with me at all. Like, look at it this week, and I'm like, okay, who's the highest projected of the sub 6.5s? Oh, it's Chris Wood again.
Of course it is.
It's Chris Wood again.
It's a good fixture for him as well. Obviously, home.
Old club.
Old club.
Where he didn't have a great time. You want to put all those narratives in there? Yeah.
So help me out, boys, because neither of you got DCL, have you?
No, thank God.
No. Yeah, well, don't pick bad players from bad teams, mate.
I do. Mate,
is he on this list?
You've got Dwight McNeil, mate, and he's not even.
Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. Carry on.
I don't think championship defenders. Oh yeah, I got Leif Davis. I don't think Manchester. Oh yeah, I got the other one.
Shooting yourself in the foot,
mate. We're all stupid in this game.
Yeah.
But DCL was there, and so if there's a doubt on Palmer, then I feel like I have to move on DCL because Rodgers is there as an option. But if not, then I don't know if I'll get 11 players out. So I feel like I probably should just make the move on DCL as my move. The more I think about it, is probably that's where I should make it. And you look at it this week and you say, well, I've got the money. Hoyland's right there, 0.51. Do you just attack it with the free fixtures? But you know he hasn't got pens. You know he's probably also limited on minutes. You know Wood is right there.
I almost feel like you'll make this own narrative in your head though because Chris Wood has done so well. That would almost sway me not to go there. It's this thing I always do. It's not the right thing at all. Yeah, and it really does. So the new shiny toy Hoyland might be the one.
Yeah, because you're like, I've got to try and because I'm like, I don't even know why I'm 2.5 million now, whatever it is. Then I'm like, well, I've got to try and get past the people that have got Wood. So I need to get somebody else.
What do you need to do in 12? Well, what would you do in 12 if you were to get Chris Wood?
Oh, I suspect it's just Son to Saka.
Son to Saka?
Yeah, probably just Son
Would
to
you
Saka.
bench Wood against Arsenal?
Yeah, because Rodgers is home to Palace.
Okay. So then...
Because that is the interesting thing with Wood is about it is there's a slight headache if I went Hoyland of like, who do I play next week?
Well, we don't even know if Hoyland starts next week when Amorim comes in, right?
Nah.
Because, you're talking brand new manager. So, because as much as it is like, just get Chris Wood.
Because it's an easy bench to week, and then in game week 13, I get the home to Ipswich.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Wissa, but probably like the fixtures are pretty much the same because Brentford are so crap away from home. It probably doesn't really matter. And again, 13 is obviously the big Leicester home fixture. But
do I just try and ruin Chris Wood for everybody?
So there's another player that we were speaking about a small bit in the group chat. That is João Pedro. I know, Adam, you brought him up as well. Would you be more than happy to wait until next week, go for João Pedro, even though it's a small bit of risk, rather than going to a Wood?
It's just I still don't know whether João Pedro is better than Danny Welbeck. I don't think we know that anymore.
Yeah, that's actually a good
Danny
point.
Welbeck's been so good that I just
Ruter's been good as well. I mean, I know he's probably going to bring him straight back in, but Ruter's been pretty good as well.
It's been pretty good.
So it doesn't feel like he has to throw him straight in. And you're right, the game week 13 is the one against Southampton at home. If you're going to bring him in that week.
And then there's Evan Nielsen down at Bournemouth. I like it, but I don't like it enough. I don't love it. Maybe I should just get Chris bloody Wood.
I mean, it might just solve your problems. So you don't have to think about it. I mean, as you say, you can bench him next week. You bench him against City, and then, I mean, the fixtures aren't good though. Like Forest's fixtures are objectively bad over the next.
But
10
when
games.
you've not got Haaland, you've got eight decent players.
This is true.
Rodgers' fixtures are getting better again now. You know,
yeah.
Maybe I need to look at the rotations around Rodgers and Wood. But when you've got, like, I've got Bumo, Salah, Palmer, and it'll be Saka or Son. So you're playing those every week. Solanke and Cunha, I'm playing them every week at the moment. There's no chance of the fixture. Even the Man City game, I'll play Solanke all day long in that game.
Small bit off topic, but when do you see yourself getting rid of Mbeumo, or do you?
Well, it's
Obviously,
a funny.
it's crazy price now, like.
It is a crazy price, but I honestly did look at it and was like, is Bruno for Brian like the world's worst option?
For next 3, they've got 2 home games. Brentford have got 2 home games. It's just too much there potentially.
Yeah, the EO.
It's
not even just the EO. I just think they'll create enough big chances in the next 2 games, in the next 2 out of the next 3 games. I just don't think that, like, Boomer will get a couple of those chances, right? And Bruno won't get those. He'll be more on the creative side.
Just trust Boomer.
I think game week 14. I think it's a definite
consideration
option. It's just trying to figure out who the best person at that fixture, when those fixtures get to 14. Like, what do you do from there? I mean,
well, by then Foden might be cheaper than Bumo, so
maybe
let leaves this sideways swap.
You look down at the fixtures in 14, and there are just loads and loads of real crap. To be honest,
yeah, it's difficult.
I mean, you could do Bruno to Palmer or something like that, and maybe just get away with Leicester.
Let's do our guest team. Let's do the guest team. You can.
Yeah, we need to do teams. We need to do teams and get out. We're almost at an hour, so that's good. Mr. Chai, I have now changed your name. I don't know whether you saw it. It said Harry.
I'm not Harry no more.
No. Your team, mate.
You want me to run us through for the podcast?
Please, mate. Yeah, that'd be great.
So on goal, we've got Ederson, 3 at the back, Lewis, Alexander-Arnold, 8 Nori, 4 in midfield, Mohamed Salah, Mbeumo, Garnacho, and Palmer. 3 up top, Solanke, Kuna, and Havertz. It's not in this image, but currently the armband is on Dominic Solanke. And of course, Rodgers, Mikalenko, and Greaves on the bench.
When you sent me the image, did it have Solanke captain?
I can't remember.
I was going to say, because if so, that's on me.
Remember.
If so, that's on me.
No, you're good. So I have 1 million, or I have one free transfer, 1.8 million. Similar space to you, Baker. Originally, at the start of the week, I spoke on stream quite a bit on last week, potentially doing Isaac for Havertz. And this week, I also like that move. Of course, they play Forest, and I think Newcastle look a bit sharper than we've seen in those first 6-7 games. And Gordon is back playing well, so he's definitely one that's on my mind. Another one is upgrading Lewis. Of course, I have Ederson on goal. Just don't know how much I fancy going into the common game weeks with a player that I don't know if he's going to start or not. And I just don't fancy playing Mikalenko every week like we spoke about. Other than that, 8 home fixtures looks absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? I look at it, a similar thing. I think all of us look at it, goes, loads of home fixtures this week, but we just looked at the odds a minute ago, and it's not great like as a week. But as soon as you see a load of homes, you're like, well, I'm in for a good week. Yeah, I got these homes. So do you think you move Havertz out?
I really don't know. Don't feel like we've got anything solid on Havertz. I don't even think he was on the goal list a second ago that we just looked at. So I feel inclined.
Saka and Havertz were off that list.
I feel inclined to move him on, but then again, I look at the fixture next week, and the week after. It only gets better for Arsenal. I can't see this dip in form to continue. So, and I will eventually want a piece of that Arsenal attack. So, how I get there is a question for me.
Fair enough.
What about? Would you consider benching Havertz and looking at someone even for, say, Rodgers? Like you could get Brennan.
Don't do that to me. Don't be doing that to me. I've actually not considered
He's
that.
so good at this. Like he's so good at this. Like seriously, every week he's like, "Would you consider this?" I'm like, "Oh, hold on."
Garnacho? Brennan, you got Garnacho already.
That
Brennan?
is spicy because then I go into the game week and, my team is fairly differential in general. I would say, I don't think too many have the double up on 8 Nori Kuna unless you, of course, brought in Salah like everyone else. But I had a really strong attack in Solanke, Haaland, and Havertz. Of course, I only moved out of it. But now I've got Garnacho with a really nice Leicester home. And especially if I go from a Rodgers, that would really differentiate the team. You have me thinking. I don't know, though. Havertz, if he does play against his old team, something nice about it. He scored 2 last time we played him, 74 minutes against him.
Yeah,
so
he'll want to be fit.
Looks
for that.
good.
And if the fact that Ode came off the bench, if Shoe mode starts, big game.
Yeah.
They need it.
Yeah.
Shoe mode starts, which means that you'd hope really. I mean, I say hope like 3 Tottenham fans here, but hope that Trossard would drop out and that Ode would go in. I mean, that means that Havertz is back at 9 as well. And it was a cut, so you'd think he's going to be fine.
Couple of stitches or whatever, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Or I could just roll. I'm in a place where, like, if I roll, no problem. I could easily make a transfer, no problem. Like, I don't think I need to be too worried about it. Like on paper, it is good.
And what do you do if there's news that Palmer's out?
Then I would definitely be more inclined to make Rodgers a 6-point someone midfielder. That gets interesting then.
How much has he moved in price now for everyone? I haven't even looked. You stick him in at 5 and then I've never looked at him since.
Who, Rodgers?
Rodgers, yeah, because it's like, well, when do you want him back? And that's like in a few weeks' time, unless you do something wild like find a route to Watkins, for example.
Yeah, it's whether you do want him back when it's because if you're going to stay without Haaland for a long time, then you might decide you do want more in midfield with a 5. But yeah, I don't know what I'd get for Rodgers. Let me have a quick look on that one.
I can stretch to 7 million if I take.
I'll get 5.2 for Rodgers. Yeah, get 5.2. So I bought him at 5. It's 5.4 now. Get 5.2 for him.
Do you know who I'd love if I could do it? If I could do this move, I would do it in a heartbeat. And it's Gordon, 7.2 and 0.2 off. I think Gordon isn't being spoke about, rightly so, because he got an injury recently, but I think he's definitely an interesting one, and he'll be back in conversation soon.
And obviously, the spicy move would be if you did take some money out of Havertz, then a -4 get Rodgers up to Bruno.
Oh, we're looking at that now. Imagine that, like double United defense. It sounds great.
Yeah, it's there. Okay.
Let's see. I'll need to tamper a small bit more.
Yeah. Fair enough. And I don't always say fair enough when I disagree, clearly. Up to you, Baker.
Also fair enough. We just want to move on.
I have many uses for it. Your team, mate.
So I also have 1 free transfer and 1.8 in the bank, which is probably like a standard amount if you took Haaland out last week. Decision in goal, Fabianski or Raya. Currently got Fabianski in there. Lewis, Aitnori, and Gabriel are the defense. Son, Bumo, Palmer, Salah, Rodgers is my current team, with Salah with the armband as it stands. Cunha and Solanke up top. And at the moment, I've got DCL first bench, Mikola goes second, and Greaves last. Greaves hopefully will be back after international break. I think it makes you more twitchy when you've only got the 4 defenders and you've got that last one. You're like, oh God, how much am I potentially going to get into that last one? Despite the fact that my defenders get 1 point every week, so I'm not sure why I'm that bothered about it.
Especially if it's Mikolenko, your 4th defender.
Yeah. I just don't trust Calvert-Lewin enough to start. I just think Beto's done enough. So unless Dyche pretty much gave it away last week he talked about Beto still needs to do a lot of work to get into being a starting player. So hopefully he might get asked something similar, because if he is starting, obviously Well, I don't know what I'm saying here because I'm playing the bloody West Ham keeper. So I shouldn't really say it was a good fixture, but West Ham does feel like a good fixture. So, and it sounds like McNeil might be struggling as well, which also I don't think is pretty good for Everton. So I suspect I take Calvert-Lewin out. And I'm starting to come around to the idea that maybe I should stop trying to be too clever with it and just get Chris Wood. Bench Rodgers. I do think, though, if I had Chris Wood in my team, would I always struggle to bench him ever again because he's a penalty taker at number 9? Probably the same. I'll probably face into the same pain that I had when I was like Calvert-Lewin, where it was like, I want to play him every week because he's number 9 on pens. But at least Chris Wood scores.
Fair point.
Yeah. Okay. What I need to do is have probably more of a look at the fixtures and rotations around Rodgers and DCL, because with the other guys, I just don't see myself. I'm going to bench him. Just don't see it.
Okay.
So that's me.
And then up to me, you'll see Rodgers firmly planted on my bench.
Right at the back.
Right at the back. Yeah, I'm ready to get hurt there again. So I've got Johnston in goal at the moment, who won't play, but it's Southampton at home. So if he does play, it's a great fixture. Trent, Gabriel, Porro at the back. Mateus Nunes, Brian, Son, and McNeil. Don't love that, having two midfielders that I'm not particularly comfortable with. And then Solanke, Haaland, and Cunha up top. Captaincy's currently on Son. Emi Martinez, Lewis, Davis, and Rodgers on the bench. It is a bit awkward having, say, McNeil and Mateus Nunes there. And it feels like if there's an opportunity to take money out, I've only got 0.9 in the bank. So there's not really many options for me to upgrade. And to maybe take some pressure off that midfield, I maybe would play Lewis. Or do I just play Rodgers? It probably doesn't matter. I should probably just play Rodgers, actually, in fairness. Which is probably actually what I need to do, is probably play Rodgers over the one that I'm not sure about. I'm not sure I'm going to be making any transfers this week. I don't, again, see a huge amount of upside in going anywhere near any more Liverpool this week. Yes, it's a home game. That's also why Rodgers is on my bench, because I've got Trent in defence. Obviously, you love that.
McNeil to Garnacho?
McNeil to Garnacho, option. Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. So this is the source was Joe Thomas, who said that Dwight McNeil's a doubt for Everton's trip to West Ham this weekend. It was set to undergo a final assessment on Friday. So hopefully some news there. It's an away game as well. And so good chance we might get some travelling news.
And we're a late deadline as well.
Yeah. Knee injury, which hampered his preparations ahead of the game versus Southampton last weekend, has since flared up.
Fair enough.
Flare up doesn't sound.
Flare up. This doesn't sound too bad.
Adam,
Ice pack. And...
where do you stand with Trent? He's not one that a lot of people are speaking about. I think a lot of people that own him are more than happy to hold him. Do you want more? Are you happy to how he's done so far?
I'm fine with what he's done so far, but I don't think he's worth the money that I've paid for him or got in him at all.
So would you be looking going forward to get rid of him?
Yeah,
that's basically what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, but the problem is I want to get rid of Trent. I want to get rid of Porro. I want to get rid of Nunes, McNeil, and Lewis, and then I kind of want to do a hokey cokey on Rodgers and get rid of Haaland. So it's kind of difficult when you've only got one free transfer to make 7. So I've got to try and pick my battles. I mean, Trent's going to be the one that's going to free up the most money. Well, no, obviously Haaland will, but Trent.
Yeah, I was say, or that big fella up front.
Yeah, but I mean, Trent frees up 3 million, not 3 million. Well, yeah, maybe 3 million, 2.5 million immediately anyway. So it just feels really odd going down to Konate. It just feels like a really weird move. I think if you haven't got Konate, and you're looking for that sort of price bracket defender, I think it's a pretty fine move. But when you've already got Trent and you're going to go, I'm just going to go Konate, it just feels a bit weird. So it might be the one though, because it's 1.7 million. You know, that gives me enough to take, McNeil to Bruno, for example.
I mean, honestly, the way I see Konate versus Trent at the moment is Konate has an opportunity to score on on every corner that Liverpool get, but Trent only has the ability to return on half of them. You know, is Canate's in the box for every single one of them, but Trent's only taking one side. Like it, and you get double the points if you score them. Now, obviously, Van Dijk's there as well, and blah blah blah, but doesn't mean it's going to score them all. But I don't think it's a huge loss at the moment to have Konate. I really don't. And I would spend less time thinking about that move and more time thinking about yes, if you offered me, for example, if you offered me Son and Trent, or you offered me Salah and Konate, then probably go this. Oh, sorry, yeah. That's what I said. Did I get that right? Yeah. Son and Trent, or Salah and Konate. I'll have Son and Konate going forward. Not this weekend.
I mean, if you, that's I think that's fair enough in isolation. I think looking at the rest of the team, I don't think it's not, doesn't feel like a problem area.
No. But so, the only way you're going to address the fact that you've got 3 £5 million midfielders really is to sell the big guy.
Yeah.
You can't really.
And he has to go in 12. Like, so whatever happens.
Transfers, really.
So so whatever happens, he has to go in 12. And do I think it's, because 12 can be
12 versus Tottenham?
Oh yeah, he's gone for that. Yeah, Romero's going to put him on his arse. It's fine.
So the question does come back on these ones is, can you do it? Can you do it with free transfers, or do you just do it with a hit?
I probably need a hit either way. Like, I probably need a hit.
I don't mind a hit, yeah.
But if I do it this week, I probably take 4 points, and then I take probably another 4 points next week. I probably take 8 anyway.
If you looked at this week and said sort of expected points on, say, Haaland and one of the midfielders that you don't want, so either McNeil or Nunes, who would you bring in this week if you were to switch that around? Salah and which striker?
That's the thing. Like the problem with the strikers this week is that all the strikers feel like I'd want to get off them again very quickly. Whereas I think next week I can see about João Pedro Welbeck. I guess I'm one fixture further away from a good Chris Wood fixture, and I'm one fixture further away from Wissa. And I'm one fixture further away from, say, Strand Larsen. So they're the difficult ones. So maybe it is this week. Maybe it is gambling on the fact that
I don't know in Brighton next week. I don't know that we gain anything from Brighton versus Man City that gives us info to know which is the best Brighton striker for the better games.
No, that's also, well, I mean, at least João Pedro playing might be an indicator.
Oh yeah, that's definitely
that might help us.
That's definitely a bonus. But yeah, I think it does look inevitable that you are gonna have to take the plunge probably on Haaland with 3 £5 million midfielders, and Palmer's and Salah with pretty decent fixture runs.
Yeah. Depends how much money can I get down from Haaland. I mean, I can't, if I take Haaland, like Mateus is only 4.9, so it's really difficult to get very far up there.
Well, yeah, you can still switch Haaland. Like Haaland and Mateus, for example, are still cheaper than Salah and any striker under 7 million.
Yes. But then I can't do anything with McNeil. I'd like to almost do 2. But can I?
Do so many transfers.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Then I'm
Team 1 Spurs on the cards.
Then I'm taking out Trent at that point as well. And then then it gets to like, I don't know, 1 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then I'm bringing in, God knows who. Like, who knows at that point?
Yeah, Palmer in 12 is going to be the one, isn't it? Even if you just sell it this week, it'll be like,
absolutely.
What do I do? What do I do to get Palmer in 12?
Yeah.
Whereas if you roll, you can work it out.
Well, I mean, getting Palmer in 12 would involve like Trent and Son.
Well, not if you don't go Salah.
Not if I don't go Salah. So if I went Bruno, then
So I think in 12, for example, I think Watkins starts to get better again. Come past 12.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isaac or Watkins?
Say again.
Isaac or Watkins?
I think Isak and Watkins get better, but I like Watkins for post the international break. I look at it. I think the Home Palace game's a good game. So yeah, potentially like what Haaland and Nunes becomes Watkins and Palmer for free, and then work Salah out in a bit. Palmer can cover a lot of the Salah caps.
He can.
They've actually got. There's going to be decisions to make when there's games. Like 12 is a decision to make on Palmer versus Salah. It's a big old decision. Southampton or Leicester.
we can leave that
conversation.
We can leave that conversation for a few weeks. We can leave that conversation for a few weeks. So, thank you to everyone in the chat. Make sure you've hit the like button before you leave today. There's questions. Any questions? Not really any questions. What are your thoughts on Lewis versus Vardiol? Tempted to make the move between the two.
The sideways.
That's
Sounds
a really
like
luxury move, I suppose.
Sounds very luxury. Not sure I'll be making that.
No, I'm not sure I'll be making it.
I
don't like the fixtures. I don't like the clean. I think Vardiol's been an incredible pick, and I think he'll still continue to be like if you think that you're going to have Vardiol as a long-term hold to 38, then I think it's okay.
Yeah,
but I look at it and think the next 4 or 5 weeks, I don't really think I want Vardiol. Like I'd rather take the chance on someone like Dalot, like you said.
We'll get Saliba back. Is Saliba back on the menu soon? Ben White, maybe something like that. Maybe that might come up. Chelsea winning 8-0 apparently.
Christopher Nkunku back on the score sheet. 2 for João Felix as well.
It's good because they don't play at the weekends. So, Colin Johnson says, "Remember, guys, Saints only conceded 1 goal at City when everyone was talking about triple captain Haaland. Wolves might be a tight game. I'd imagine Southampton approached that game a little bit differently."
No, I would assume so too as well.
I think Southampton will still get to play though. Like Southampton, we have seen when they've gone out and played, they can move the ball. And I think what we saw in that Palace Wolves game last week was both teams were just trying to move the ball. So I do think there'll be goals.
Yeah,
I think it will be pretty different in how they are. I've just noticed in game week 12 that Parma's the first game of the game week at 12:30.
You know the famous saying, don't say
everybody's going to captain Salah because he's on Sunday.
Yeah, just wait. Don't tell anyone.
Everybody is going to captain Salah because he's on Sunday.
Would you play Rodgers this week or Smith Rowe? Didn't even talk about Fulham. I mean, but
yeah, we didn't talk about Monday night's game at all. Who have Fulham got? Away to Palace.
Exactly.
Don't like either of them, but a Smith Rowe for me, I suppose. Fulham are making some decent chances.
What if Harry Wilson scores a brace and then just starts ahead of him this weekend, though?
That's actually a good point.
Did just score a brace. Like, he could easily just walk in and take that place. Yeah. It's probably still Smith Rowe.
Yeah, I'll probably play Smith Rowe. Maddison to Bruno?
Yeah,
I would do that.
Heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely in a heartbeat.
Ryan, Football Chat Box says, hello. Last couple of questions. Hello to you, Ryan. Question for Chai. How long do you intend to keep Garnacho for? And what's your favourite type of tea?
Okay, so this is actually a brilliant question. How long am I going to hold Garnacho for? I think it really depends on what we see from Amorim when he comes in. I mean, the obvious answer for me is 14 because they play against Arsenal, but again, it really depends on the situation. If suddenly United are drawing against Leicester and Ipswich, I think I could bin them off in Everton if it comes to it. In terms of my favourite tea, mint tea is my favourite, and the reason is because it balances your hormones. There you go.
Very good. You never get positive health stuff on here, other than your like.
Never helps.
There you go. There you go.
If it helps, my 2 favourite teas are mint and chai. So
perfect. There you go.
Living the both.
Last question from Sally. Okay. Well, I'll do the Adams as well because shares the same name as me, so that would be terrible if I did not include him. Sally says, Captain Salah, Son or Solanke? I mean, that's literally what we're talking about. That's literally all three of us.
So let's talk it. I'm currently on Mo. Chai, you're currently on Solanke.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm currently
Adam,
on
you're
Sun.
currently on Sun.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
So we're completely split.
Peter Boy.
Good luck. Would you play Wissa or Semenyo? Wissa.
I'd play Semenyo.
Oh.
You'd play Semenyo over Wissa?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure. I don't agree with that. Brentford at home, isn't it? Brentford at home for me.
I play Wissa.
Okay, we're 2-1 there. No worries, Sally. You've just got here. You can rewind and watch everything if you want, but that's fine because
Semenyo's playing against Flecken, though.
Sorry?
Semenyo's playing against Flecken.
I mean, he was excellent for 91.5 minutes, wasn't he? On Monday? When you ruined his clean sheet. Chai, did you see that? Did you see the?
Yeah, I did.
But did you see the messages that Baker was saying? We were talking in WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
So Adam's the dark side in our world in this one. In that I was saying, I don't really mind the Flecken clean sheet because Jimenez had gone off, Wissa had gone off, Smith Rowe had gone off. I was like, as long as they all blank, I don't really mind. I don't mind the Flecken clean sheet. That's sort of offset by Boomer gets 3 points. He'll be fine. I was fine about that. Adam's like, no, I want misery all round.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's on three bonus. He was on like 3 save points. I was like, he's going to lose his clean and lose all his bonus. I want -7 points off Flecken, please.
As they kept doing those P-roller shots at Flecken, I was getting annoyed about it myself because I was just like, you're just giving him save points. What are you doing for it? So I was like, I said something like, let them dream, get the wipeout in the 92nd minute. And I said that with like 25 minutes to go.
25 minutes to half an hour to go. And
it happened bang on 92nd minute.
I mean,
thanks very much.
The first thing I looked at, no joke, the first thing I looked at was not my phone when the goal went in. The first thing I looked at was the time. It was instantly, because I obviously knew we were in injury time. So the goal goes in, and I look at the time, 91:30, and I'm like, this is amazing. Just text Baker.
And people had started doing it, and people started showing screenshots of their 12-pointers and all that stuff. And then boom.
That's the best thing ever.
When it dropped to like 7 points or whatever, I was like, oh, well, it's still okay though, isn't it? And then 4, you're like, it's funny.
I mean, that was the worst thing about the winner was obviously he goes down and loses all of his bonus in that moment because he was still top bonus after conceding the first one, so he lost all his bonus.
And I was annoyed the fact that he had the bonus.
Yeah, well, it's just volume of saves and stuff, wasn't it? But the fact that he lost the bonus looked amazing and he was like 20% owned, and then until you realise that Robinson got the assist and he was like 25% owned, so like the 3 points just went the other way.
I cannot believe how high the ownerships were in that Monday night game. Smith throwing like a third of teams.
We haven't had a good Monday night football in a while, actually. Now that you say that,
the game we play,
the game's gone.
Chai, thank you very much for joining us.
Cheers, boys, for having me on. Been a pleasure.
It has full Spurs bias this week. We do enjoy that. We've got. I think we're trying to get. Can we say who we might have over the international break? We're pretty much firmed up.
We'll tell it on Sunday. Tell you on
Sunday. Okay, we'll tell you on Sunday who we've got lined up for the international break. And yeah, make sure on the way out, 225 of you, thank you for being here. Hit the like button on the way out. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we will see you again Sunday. Cheers, guys.
Come on, you Spurs.
Cheers.